For most of modern history, the Philippines and Japan have stood on opposite sides of Asia's story, one recovering from war, the other rebuilding from its own destruction, two island nations separated by distance, history, and trauma. But today, something remarkable is happening. Manila and Tokyo are closer than they've ever been, economically, diplomatically, and strategically, and the question is no longer why, but what's next. This is the story of how two nations once divided by war became partners in peace, progress, and purpose. It's easy to forget how far this relationship has come. When World War II ended, Japan lay in ruins, and the Philippines had suffered terribly under occupation. Trust was broken, the wounds were deep, but in the 1950s, Japan began to rebuild, not through conquest but through cooperation. The Philippines became one of the first countries to sign a peace and reparations agreement with Japan. Instead of revenge, the two nations chose reconciliation. That decision changed everything. It allowed Japan to help rebuild Philippine industries, power grids, and roads, the same foundations that would later fuel the country's modernization. Forgiveness turned into friendship, and friendship became partnership. By the 1970s and 1980s, Japan had become one of the Philippines' largest trading partners. Japanese factories opened across the archipelago, producing cars, electronics, and machinery. Brands like Toyota, Mitsubishi, and Epson became household names. But it wasn't just about business. Japanese investment brought technology, skills, and a culture of discipline and quality that really reshaped local industries. In turn, Filipino workers became a vital part of Japan's global network. Hard-working, English-speaking, and trusted. Today, Japan remains one of the Philippines' biggest investors, supporting infrastructure projects, energy development, and urban transit systems. Intramar konstu ankarkardrum stum wustung parber kaldanarba, and shan gain sto danin klad. Shop in napin dains per dains dainso, Quang Metro Manila's upcoming subway, which will be the largest in the country's history. This bond isn't built on politics, it's built on shared growth. Fast forward to today, and the relationship has evolved beyond economics. Both countries now see each other as essential regional partners. Japan, with its advanced economy and aging population, needs allies and youthful labor markets to sustain its industries. The Philippines, with its young population and growing economy, needs partners who can provide technology, training, and access to global trade. It's a perfect fit, one built not on dependency, but on mutual benefit. The Indo-Pacific region is changing faster than ever. Supply chains are shifting, global powers are competing for influence, and, smaller nations are learning that cooperation is the key to stability. That's why Japan and the Philippines are strengthening ties in everything, from digital infrastructure to disaster resilience. Japan is now helping the Philippines develop early warning systems for typhoons, improve flood management, and modernize transportation, because honestly, climate resilience is as important as economic growth. Meanwhile, Filipino engineers and nurses are working in Japan under mutual labor programs, a quiet bridge of cultural exchange that benefits both nations. It's not about geopolitics, it's about preparation for a future that demands partnership. Behind every trade agreement or official visit, there are real people building the connection. Filipino workers in Japan send home billions in remittances every year, while Japanese companies employ thousands in Philippine tech parks and industrial zones. There are sister city relationships, cultural festivals, language programs, and youth exchanges, subtle but powerful links that make the friendship tangible. Japanese language schools in Manila are full, Filipino restaurants in Tokyo are thriving, and every year, more students, artists, and professionals move between the two countries, carrying stories, not stereotypes. This is soft power at work, not military strength, but human connection. In recent years, both nations have begun coordinating on regional development projects, not just between themselves, but across Southeast Asia. Japanese financing helps build roads in Mindanao and bridges in Luzon. Philippine digital startups collaborate with Japanese investors and universities. And in energy, both countries are exploring renewable partnerships, solar, wind, and hydrogen, to create sustainable growth. There's a quiet realization: The challenges of the 21st century, climate change, technology, aging societies, and migration, cannot be solved alone. Some people frame every partnership in Asia as a move in a global chess game, but for Japan and the Philippines, the reality is simpler. It's about balance, not rivalry. Both nations have learned from history that real power doesn't come from confrontation, but from cooperation, respect, and long-term vision. By building infrastructure, strengthening trade, and investing in education, they're proving that prosperity can be shared without domination. It's a powerful reminder that collaboration can lead to mutual success. That message resonates across Southeast Asia, a model of partnership built on peace and trust, not tension. When you ask ordinary people in both countries how they see each other today, you don't hear the word enemy. You hear friend, partner, neighbor. Generations born long after the war see Japan not as an invader, but as an innovator, and Filipinos not as victims, but as collaborators in progress. That shift, from pain to partnership, is one of the most powerful examples of reconciliation in Asia's modern history. The Philippines and Japan may still face different challenges, but their future is increasingly shared, in trade, culture, innovation, and trust. From rebuilding after war to redefining cooperation in the digital age, these two nations show that alliances aren't made by treaties alone. They're built by people who choose understanding over fear and progress over the past. The story of Japan and the Philippines isn't just about diplomacy, it's about transformation, proof that nations, like people, can change, forgive, and grow together. And maybe that's the real heart of this story. Not the policies or the politics, but the quiet moments that no headline ever captures. A Japanese engineer teaching Filipino students how to build smarter cities. A Filipino nurse caring for an aging patient in Tokyo who thanks her in broken Tagalog. Young people from both nations creating startups together, writing music together, falling in love across language and distance. Every one of those small human connections stitches a new thread into the fabric of history. A thread stronger than conflict, woven through respect. When we talk about reconciliation, it can sound abstract. But here it's lived every day, in classrooms, in factories, in shared meals and laughter. In the simple realization that healing doesn't mean forgetting, it means choosing to build something better on the same ground where destruction once stood. That's what makes the Japan-Philippines story different. It's not just recovery, it's renewal. A lesson that even the deepest wounds can become roots for something stronger if both sides keep showing up with empathy and purpose. So when the next chapter is written, about a generation working side by side to solve problems their grandparents could never imagine, remember where it began. With two nations who learned that peace isn't a treaty, it's a choice repeated every single day. And as long as they keep choosing it, their shared future will keep growing, quietly, powerfully, together.